Hi, welcome to the video Deploy MySQL Database to Heroku. I am Nam Haming from CodeJava.net. Through this video, I'd like to share with you how to deploy a MySQL database from local computer to Heroku Cloud Platform. To follow this video, you must have a Heroku account and have the Heroku CLI interface and MySQL Server and MySQL Workbench installed on your computer. You know, Heroku supports PostgreSQL by default, so to use MySQL, you need to install an add-on for MySQL, such as the ClearDB add-on. And in order to install add-on, you need to have your Heroku account verified. That means you must enter your credit card or debit card information. Let me explain the process for deploying a MySQL database from local computer to Heroku. Say you have a local MySQL database and you also have a newly deployed app on Heroku. And to deploy your local MySQL database, you need to install an add-on such as the ClearDB MySQL add-on, and this add-on will create a new remote MySQL database. And then you need to export the local database to a SQL file, and then import this SQL file to the remote MySQL server, and have the app access the deployed MySQL database via config var, such as the ClearDB database URL config var. Make sense? So in this video, you will learn how to create a new app and deploy a MySQL database from local computer to Heroku using Heroku website and MySQL Workbench, and using Heroku CLI interface and MySQL command. Now let's create a new app on Heroku using Heroku website. So firstly, you need to sign in your Heroku account, and under the My Personal Apps here, click New button, create new app, and enter app name. For example, HM app 1, and the default region is United States, and click create app. Okay, so I've got a new app created on Heroku with the name Nam app 1. Okay, then click the tab overview, and you can see installed add-ons here. There are no add-ons for this app, and click the button, the link configure add-ons here to install a new add-on for using MySQL database, and type the keyword MySQL here, and you can see it suggests some add-ons for MySQL here, such as ClearDB, DB MySQL. So I choose ClearDB MySQL, and you can choose the plan. Here I choose a free plan called Ignite, and click Submit Order Form, and it will install this add-on for my new app. And you see the add-on ClearDB has been installed here. You see ClearDB MySQL, and click the add-on name to view the details, view the database information. And you see this is the ClearDB database dashboard, and this is a new database name installed for my app. Click the database name to view more details, and you see performance, and click system information, and you can see the access credentials, which are the username and password to access the remote MySQL database. Now open MySQL Workbench, and let's connect to the local instance of MySQL on local computer. Okay, so I want to deploy this database users DB to Heroku. So firstly, I need to export data in this database to a SQL file. You see, there are some rows in the users table here. And to export this database, click menu server data export, and choose database users DB. Okay, and choose the option to export to self-contained file. and specify the path to the SQL file. Use db.sql and click Start Export. Okay, export completed. And then open the SQL file in a text editor. This is the exported SQL file for my database, and I open it using a text editor like TextPad. And you can see the SQL file is actually a text file that contains SQL statements for creating table and inserting data. You see. And now switch to Heroku, and in the app information, click Settings, and you see after installing the add-on MySQL, ClearDB MySQL, click Review config vars, and you can see it added a new config var called ClearDB database URL, and this is database URL which you can use to access the remote MySQL server. Click this edit button to view full details. Here you see. Okay, so let's connect to this database from MySQL Workbench. Firstly, copy the host name here. After the SI is the host name. Okay, and switch to MySQL Workbench. Click database, connect to database. Okay, so close connection tab and click the button here to create a new connection to the remote database. Connection name is remote ClearDB MySQL, and under the hostname field, paste the hostname here. You see, and then the username here. Paste the username here, and then the password. Copy the password after the colon here. Password. Okay, and click test connection. You see, successfully made the MySQL connection to the remote MySQL server. Okay, so far so good, and click OK, and click to open the connection to connect to the remote MySQL server, the ClearDB MySQL on Heroku cloud platform. It may take a while because it is connecting to a remote MySQL database server. You see, so I have connected successfully to a remote MySQL on Heroku. Here you see the database name Heroku and followed by a random string here. Click to expand and you can see no tables at this time because the database is empty. Now switch to the SQL text file, and we need to update this SQL file a little bit to use the provision database on Heroku. So type the command use and followed by the database name. We can copy the database name here in the database URL and paste here. And you can notice in this SQL file the chassis is UTF-8 MB4 and the collect is UTF-8 MB4 0900 AICI. But let me check in this schema inspector. Basically, you need to check the chassis and the correlation of the target database. We got exception error. You need to check the chassis, and you see here the details, schema details of the remote MySQL collection is UTF-0 CI. Default character set is UTF-8. So we need to update the chassis and collection in this SQL file UTF-8, and collection is utfs0ci utfs underscore 0 underscore ci. Okay, so that's the modification you need to make before importing this SQL file to the remote MySQL database server. Okay, and then here in MySQL Workbench, click Server Data Import. Okay, and choose Import from Self-Contained File, and choose the SQL file. Here, users DB. Okay, and choose a default target schema, which is a Heroku database. Okay, dump structure and data, and okay, and I need to hide the output area to see the start import command. Here, click start import button. It is importing a local database to the remote MySQL database, so it may take a while. Okay, you see import completed successfully. And under the schema navigator here, right click, refresh all to see the table. You see, we got new table users imported to the remote MySQL database here. Perfect, right? And I can select rows from this table. You see, perfect. We have some rows in the users table here. That means I have successfully deployed MySQL database from my local computer to a remote MySQL database on the Heroku Cloud Platform. Okay, let me close the connection tab. Next, let me show you how to create a new app on Heroku and deploy a MySQL database from local computer to Heroku using Heroku command interface. Okay, so open a new command prompt on Windows or terminal on Mac or Linux, and firstly, type Heroku login. Okay, and click login in the browser. Okay, come back to the command prompt, and now type Heroku to create a new app with the name is nam app2. You see, it is creating a new app nam app2. Okay, and I can verify by type Heroku apps, and you see the newly created app nam app2 here. Okay, and to install the ClearDB MySQL add-on, type this command Heroku add-ons create, and then the add-on name is ClearDB, and then the brand name is Ignite, which is a free brand, and then the app name is hm app2. Okay, you see it is installing the ClearDB MySQL add-on for my app, and you see use Heroku add-on docs ClearDB to view documentation, and also it created a new config named ClearDB database URL that contains the connection information to the remote MySQL, and we can type Heroku config and then the app name hm app2, and you see a new config file created by the ClearDB MySQL add-on named ClearDB database URL here. And now let's connect to the remote MySQL database using this database URL information. You need to change the current directory to the MySQL installation directory. So I change the current directory to program files MySQL server 8.0 and the bin directory where I can use the MySQL command Heroku MySQL.exe. Okay, and then type MySQL -u and specify the username in the database URL here. Username here. And then specify the -p parameter to use the password here. Password. And then -s to specify the host name. Copy the host name in the database URL here. Okay, and enter. And you see I'm connecting to the remote MySQL database on Heroku. You see the server version is 5.6.50 MySQL community server. Okay, and type show databases. And you see we have two databases. The first one, the information schema, is the system database, and the user database is Heroku followed by a random string here. Now connect to the database Heroku. Okay, connected and show tables. And you see the database is now empty. Now I access the MySQL. And now to import the SQL file, type this command to connect to a remote MySQL server and less than sign to specify the path to the SQL file in this directory users db. Okay, that's it. Very simple. It may take a while to import the local database. And you see we got error access denied for user to database. That means I need to update the SQL file here to use the correct database name. So I copy the database name here. Okay, and execute the command again to import the local database from local computer to remote MySQL database server. You see, it is successfully imported the MySQL file to the remote server. And now let me connect to the remote server again and check verify. So I connect to the database and show tables. And you see, sorry, show tables, not show databases. And you see, I got the table users imported to the remote MySQL server, and I can select asterisk from users here. You see, we got some rows in the table. That means I have successfully deployed my local MySQL database to the remote MySQL server on Heroku using MySQL command. Okay, now exit. And then you need to configure the apps to access the MySQL database via config vars. The general config var is add-on name and then database URL. In case of ClearDB, the config var is ClearDB database URL. For Java apps, you can use the config vars JDBC database URL, JDBC database username, and JDBC database password. And for Spring apps, you can use the config vars Spring data source URL, Spring data source username, and Spring data source password. Okay, so far you have learned how to deploy a MySQL database from local computer to Heroku. Let me sum up the main commands you need to use in a command line interface. The command to log in to Heroku CLI, and then the command to create a new app, and then the command to install the ClearDB MySQL add-on with the blank ignite, and then the command to view config vars of an app, and then the command MySQL command to import the database to the remote server like this. I hope this video is helpful to you. Please subscribe to my channel, like, comment, and share this video. Thanks for watching.